Good morning, everyone. We will start our webcast on wearables in just a few minutes. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Keynote's webcast. Is your mobile app ready to wear? My name is Josh Galdi, and I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for Quality here at Keynote. Today's live demonstration will be led by myself and one of our in-house experts. Let me introduce Chris Karnecki, a Senior Solutions Consultant who supports Keynote's customers with their mobile testing requirements for both iOS and Android. Today's webcast will help you understand the growth of the wearables market, the upcoming Apple Watch, the benefits of using a cloud-based testing platform to test wearable devices, and how to test app notifications on the Samsung Gear 2. Before we begin, let me review some housekeeping items. First, this webcast is being recorded and will be distributed via email to you, allowing you to share it or watch it again later. Second, your line is currently muted. Please touch *0 for operator assistance if you experience any web or audio issues. Third, please feel free to submit any questions during the call. You can do this in the Q&A panel seen here in the bottom of your window. Again, if you cannot hear anything, please touch *0 for operator assistance if you experience any web or audio issues. Great, let's get started. Since the inception of the mobile device in the 1980s, we have seen exponential growth and change. From the brick phone to the Motorola flip phone, to the launch of the iPhone and finally Android, the market has and is evolving very quickly. We have seen a massive consolidation in the market, including phones, cameras, video cameras, all changing our way of life. In fact, billions of people around the world have adopted this new way of interacting. According to eMarketer, by 2017, there will be 5 billion people worldwide using mobile devices. It has affected every industry from healthcare to retail to gaming. And recently, there has begun another shift, wearables. While this new market is still considered to be in a very nascent stage, it is quickly growing and is expected to grow leaps and bounds beginning in early 2015. By the end of this year, over 19 million wearable devices will ship worldwide, tripling last year's figure according to IDC. Between now and 2018, wearable shipments will generate a 78.4% compound annual growth rate, eventually hitting 111 million worldwide shipments in 2018 alone. Wearable technology has become a hot market in the tech industry. Companies like Nike, Samsung, Fitbit, Jawbone, and others are all offering different wearable devices. And IDC expects many more companies to join in the fray in the coming years, including the most obvious, Apple. As IDC points out, Samsung to date has stood out from the rest of the pack in wearables, offering devices in the still nascent market. Analyst firm IDC breaks this new market down to 3 segments: complex accessories, smart accessories, and smart wearables. According to new data, the mainstream will start getting into the game very soon if they aren't already. Complex accessories such as Nike Plus Fuel Band, Jawbone Up, and Fitbit devices are already taking off. IDC predicts that complex accessories will lead the wearable market through 2018 as users continue to embrace their simplicity and low price points. But new smart wearables, aka smartwatches, are and will begin to take hold. And it is here that we see the need for testing being the most critical. Business Insider forecasts that 91 million smartwatch units will be sold globally by 2018, with an average selling price of about $100. That translates to a $9.2 billion market by 2018. And some, including the Apple Watch, will be the biggest drivers, especially at a price point of over $300. Also, according to IDC, many analysts look at the smartwatch as the next tablet, a device that will define its own category and alter the pace of the entire mobile industry. Interestingly, the prospect of smartwatches and other wearables persuading consumers to shell out money helped push IDC to temper their tablet forecast, since some of that spending may have gone to tablets. We don't believe smartwatches will compete with large screen devices like tablets. Rather, they'll gradually take over the market for digital smartwatches as consumers gradually come to expect more from them. An internet connection on a wristwatch may seem an optional or even strange frill, but over time a connection will seem like a no-brain feature. For example, a multi-time zone travel watch is a much simpler proposition with an internet connection. The ability to interact with voice-triggered or location-aware computing systems like Apple's Siri or Google Now may also eventually come to smartwatches, enhancing their usability and practicality. Watches are too small for sophisticated touch commands. As we all have heard, Apple's finally entered the world of wearables. Officially unveiled at Apple's fall media event, alongside the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus, the Apple Watch may well be one of the most anticipated products of recent years. It will be available in early 2015, starting at $349 in the US. The Apple Watch is a music player, like an iPod, a fitness tracker with heart rate measurements, a communications device that will send and receive messages, calls and audio recordings, and a handheld portal to other apps as well. It also makes payments via Apple Pay. And it can control your Apple TV and act as a remote for connected smart home devices. According to CNET, the Apple Watch seems intent to be a synthesis of many other smart watches, trying to knit together all of these features in a coherent whole. In some ways, the Apple Watch notifications, voice-activated controls, and swipe-to-glance features feel like elements of Google's Android Wear watches, which we will cover today. And the focus on apps and built-in features like voice calling seem like what the Samsung Tizen OS-based Gear watches have tried to aim for in the past. Oh, and hey, it tells time as well. Isn't that a basic expectation? Apps, and more apps. With the new Apple Watch, companies will have the ability not to just push notifications to the device, but to actually interact with the user, similar to a mobile device. The Apple Watch will have some functionality that requires tethering and some functionality that does not. Every new app for these devices will require new design, size restraints, and compatibility with recent iPhone models, including the iPhone 5, 5C, 6, or 6 Plus. But sadly, earlier phones will be excluded. Like most smartwatches, the Apple Watch is designed to be an adjunct to your iPhone. It's meant to stay paired and connected while you wear it for most features, but it also does some things while disconnected as well. The Apple Watch has a small, bright colored touch display plus a scroll wheel, digital crown, and button on the side for extra features. You can touch and swipe to interact or speak to its microphone. The watch runs on a brand new S1 processor and is equipped with a gyro and accelerometer and can piggyback off the Wi-Fi and GPS on your phone. You press down on the crown to get to the home screen, and the watch will take dictation and offers very precise synchronized time to plus or minus 50 milliseconds. It also has a haptic processor that offers a subtle vibrational feedback for notifications, alarms, and other messages. Like the iPhone 6, the Apple Watch will come with NFC. This will enable those Apple Pay payments and help it act as a door opening key at hotels. This leads us to our first poll. Currently, do you plan on developing or supporting an app on smartwatches such as the Gear 2 or Apple Watch? It's a yes/no question. Please submit your response now. And by the way, if you're in full screen, please minimize your screen so you can see the poll. Otherwise, you won't see it. Great, looks like we're getting some great responses. Thank you. Give it a few more seconds here and then we'll close the poll. Okay, let's go ahead and close the poll. And we will broadcast results. And interestingly, 72% said no, which is very interesting, especially since I think a lot of people are, this kind of reinforces the idea it's a nascent market, so new. But I think for those that are just starting to think about it, at least with the customers that we have started to see a lot of requests for devices like this, particularly around notifications. But I think in the future, especially come January, it'll become, as the market adopts the new Apple Watch, it'll become that much more needed. So I do expect that to change. Thank you so much for your responses. The next question I do have is for those that did say yes, and that is, if yes, when do you think this will be a top priority for you and your team? And you can probably answer this if you said no as well, if you do think this is something you're going to think about in the future. You could say 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, or 9 to 12 months. Again, with I think what we've been hearing, what we've been seeing is a lot, even though there's some small demand for the notifications testing, it's really driven by the Apple Watch, where apps will finally live on the device as opposed to living on a tethered device that's pushing notifications to it. Okie dokie, let me go ahead and close this. And it looks like, as expected, 9 to 12 months. I think this is definitely early adoption, which is helpful because I think this allows us and sees that there's a need for more support and also some more instruction around this over the next year that we can provide to both our customers and prospects who are looking to do more in this field. This is definitely something that we will be looking at. That's great. Thank you. Excellent. Let me just take a little bit time to talk a little bit about app quality, as this is synonymous with not just smartwatches and but apps in general, phones and wherever you're going to deploy apps. So obviously app quality is critical to success of any business, whether it's on a phone or a smartwatch. While there can be uncontrollable circumstances, such as network speed or relying on third-party applications, many times it can be simply the user experience as seen here. We all want to avoid this, and adding another component of complexity, such as notifications to a smartwatch, only makes it that much harder to maintain the 5-star rating we all strive for. Apps crashing is unfortunately becoming more common for death to many applications. Even after receiving the report, while the user is deleting your app, you still need to take time to understand and acknowledge the issue, transfer information to engineering, validate the problem, build and test the fix, and deploy a new version of the app. According to eConsultancy, only 16% of consumers would try a failing app more than twice before dumping it. And a poor mobile experience is likely to discourage users from using an app again. There is a very, very narrow window to get it right, and thus no room for error. So here at Keynote's mobile testing platform. When it comes to functional testing mobile apps and websites, there is no substitute for real devices on real carrier networks using real mobile browsers. Our platform gives you an efficient and easy way to test any mobile application, including native, hybrid, web, and do it from anywhere in the world. How do we do this? We have built the world's largest cloud library of real mobile devices, built on Keynote's patented direct-to-device technology. We include all of the most popular devices in the market today, and now include the latest smart devices, such as the Gear 2 and others, with planned support for the upcoming Apple Watch. This is unique to Keynote and not an option you will find elsewhere. With this technology, we are able to integrate any mobile or smart device via software or hardware electrical connection. Any action that can be performed on a device in hand or on wrist can be done with Keynote's mobile testing. This technology is the reason we are able to give our customers the best and most accurate cloud-based mobile testing solution available on the market today. And for post-production monitoring, we offer a mobile app monitoring solution. Mobile app monitoring continuously interacts with your app 24/7, exactly like a customer does in the real world. It is the only 100% cloud solution requiring no modifications to app being monitored. Perfect for your operations teams to be able to monitor and report back to you the data you need to provide the best user experience to your customers. Awesome. Now the fun part. I'm pleased to introduce and turn it over to Chris Carnegie for a live demo of a couple apps on Android using the Gear 2 and how you can test your notifications. As a reminder, please feel free to submit any questions during the discussion. You can do this in the Q&A panel in the bottom section of the window. And as a reminder, if you decide to go full screen to view the demo, you will not be able to enter questions. So just remember, if you want to enter a question, to be sure and go out of full screen and to do that. Great. Thanks, Chris. Go for it.
Thank you, Josh. So now we're going to focus on a demonstration of the ability to test your applications and its notifications being pushed properly to smartwatches and devices. In this case, we're going to take a look at a Samsung Gear 2. It's currently paired with this Galaxy Note 3. Now, as Josh mentioned earlier, it is very important to test on real devices, both the phones and in this case, of course, the smartwatch, the Gear 2. Emulators have a place, but you really need to make sure that the actual connections and the syncing and the pushing of notifications is working properly from your application to the smartwatch. And the only way to do that is really to test on a real device. And with Keynote's mobile testing platform here, you have the ability to control not only the phone, but also the paired watch. So on the right side of my screen, you see a Samsung Gear 2. This is a real Gear 2 watch sitting in one of Keynote's data facilities. I can interact with it by sliding my mouse across the screen, just as I would slide my finger across the screen to bring up different screens or different menus. Now, as I mentioned, this Note 3 is paired with the Gear 2. You can see the pairing of the watch. You see the icon up at the top here, so this is the device that is paired with this watch and phone. And what we can do to demonstrate the ability to test and control the phone and the watch is I'm going to simply send a text message to myself from this Note 3, and you'll see the notification pop up on the Gear 2. Now today, this is simply testing the connection between the phone and the watch. If you're developing an application for the phone that does also interact with the Gear watches or the Moto 360 or any of the other wearable watches that are out there today, you can do the same sort of testing. This sort of testing is going to be even more critical when the Apple Watch debuts in Q1 of 2015, because the applications themselves will actually reside on that watch. So I'm going to send a quick message that just says hello. And again, this is a real Note 3 that I'm interacting with in a data facility at Keynote. I'm going to say send, and you'll see it show up here on the phone because I am just sending it to myself. And then what we'll see is on the phone, or I'm sorry, on the watch, we will actually see the notification appear that I received a message. Here it is. We'll click on it. We'll come over to our notifications, and we see we have a notification. And let's open up our message. We can see our message here, and then we can, of course, take action upon it if we choose to. The other thing we can do, again, just to demonstrate that this is a real device, it is paired with this Gear 2, I'm actually going to make a phone call from another device in the Keynote Mobile Testing Cloud to the Note 3. And if your application, in this case, were the phone itself, you'd make sure that the notification is being pushed to the Gear 2 watch by watching the watch over on the right. So let's go ahead and take control of this phone here. I'm going to dial this phone number. That is for the Note 3. And I'm going to call it. And when I call it, we'll see two things. We'll see that it's dialing here on the Galaxy S4. The Note 3 should start to ring. It is. And then we also see the watch is ringing. So we can make sure that the notifications are being pushed properly and then again take action. Now again, when this really comes to be critical is going to be with something like the Apple Watch, because the applications themselves will reside on the device. That's not to say there's not a place for this testing today. There absolutely is. Applications like CNN, News Republic, Financial Times, they're all already utilizing the Android Wear platform on the Gear 2 watch and other smart watches. So you can make sure that the notifications from your application are being pushed properly to the smart watch. Now what if it's not working? How do we let people on our team know? How do we let developers know that things aren't working properly? There's a few different tools that are built into the Keynote mobile testing platform that allow us to share and collaborate with our team. The first is going to be the ability to take screenshots of the device itself. So I can click on the phone, or the watch in this case, and export frames. This just takes a screenshot of the device. And I have a few options. I can take a current screenshot of the device, or I can go back in time. And this is really powerful because it allows me to look at up to 10 minutes into the past of my control of these devices. I can take and choose screenshots or create a video from this recording or this history, and I can share them with my team. And I can share them via a website that's part of the Keynote mobile testing platform, or via email by just downloading these directly to my hard drive. I can also just look back in time at that video history. Maybe I'm doing some testing, I find a bug or a defect, and I don't remember exactly what I did 30, 60, 90 seconds ago. I can go back in time and watch my own interaction with that device to refresh my memory on what exactly was it that I was doing when I discovered that bug or that defect. Now the other thing we can do is actually share a device. So let me go ahead and bring this over a little bit here and show you a little bit more of the tool. But I have the ability to share. So if I found a bug or a defect with my application not pushing notifications properly, maybe things weren't formatted properly, that not the right information is being pushed to the Gear 2, I can actually share this device with my team. I can select Share Device here, and much like you're seeing through the webinar today, you would be able to watch other members of your team control that smart device or smart watch in this case. And you could then show them what it is that you're seeing in real time. No need to take screenshots or call someone over to your desk or schedule a late night meeting. You can do it all through the Keynote mobile testing platform. So that wraps up the demonstration. I hope that you found it useful and understand the criticality of starting to test today. Even though the applications reside on the phone, they are still interacting with the device. You need to make sure that your notifications are being pushed properly. But even more so, it will become very critical with the release of the Apple Watch when the applications reside on the watch itself. So I think there's a few questions out there. Josh, I'll turn it back over to you.
Let's see. We're getting a few questions from earlier, which is great. So, Chris, one question around, app testing on real devices. Why is that so important? And specifically, smartwatches, what do we see as far as, reinforcing the value needed to test both on, phones that are devices that are out there today, smartwatches that are coming, the Apple Watch, etc.
Sure, that's a good question. And the answer really goes to not just wearables or smartwatches, but devices in general. I've had many a customer that I've spoken with that has done all of their testing on emulators or simulators, and things look fine. They push that build to production or staging environment, and then they run into a lot of problems because now it is being used by real devices. And the emulators and simulators definitely have a place in the early stages of development, but if you want to catch those bugs and those defects earlier in the cycle where they're cheaper to fix and easier to fix, testing on real devices is absolutely critical because you're limited to that specific device. An emulator simulator is not going to act just as, let's say, a Nexus 5 in your hand or an iPhone 6. It does have limited resources. It does have a constrained screen real estate, and we find that the only real way to test and make sure that you test all of those edge cases, those corner cases, is going to be using real devices.
Okay. And the second question is, what, if any, issues have you seen that are unique to smartwatches, such as the Gear 2, that your customers have run into? So maybe be able to answer that or not, but
yeah. So my customers that are interested and already using our platform to test right now, again, notifications from their application to a smart watch like the Gear 2. The issues that they're seeing today are that they think they are sending the notification properly to that middleman, whether it's the Gear application or otherwise, and then being pushed to the device. But if your notification is not set up properly and sent to that middleman, then it's not going to behave properly and actually get pushed via Bluetooth to the smart device, Gear 2, or Moto 360, whatever the device may be. So you've got to be careful to make sure that you're, kind of playing by the rules and that things are formatted properly and sent properly to that middleman right now. It's going to, again, be even more critical with the Apple Watch because your application is actually going to reside on the watch now. There is no middleman, so it's going to be an entirely new build and a whole new set of constraints and rules to follow for those devices.
So I know you mentioned real devices earlier, but I think a common question that we keep getting is around emulator. Is what we did show today, was it emulator or is this a real device, and how are we doing that?
Sure, yeah. So these are real devices. The Note 3 and the Gear 2 were both real devices sitting in a Keynote data facility in the US. But we do have the world's largest cloud of online devices in multiple locations around the globe. We're able to do this by utilizing a patented hardware technology as well as a software technology that gives a user like yourself remote access to any one of those cloud devices from anywhere in the world where you have an internet connection. So think about it as connecting to a website from anywhere in the world. In this case, you're connecting to a Note 3, an Apple Watch, an iPhone 6, whatever it might be. So through that technology, you're accessing a real device and controlling it over the internet. So there's no emulation or simulation going on.
Awesome. And is this something you guys have done in the past, as far as using your hardware technology to connect to other than mobile devices? Have you done, other unique devices, or is this something new for Keynote?
Yeah, it is something we have done a lot in the past. So because we're utilizing a hardware technology, we are not limited to just mobile devices, iPads, phones, tablets, in this case a watch. But we have done home security systems, cable boxes, gaming consoles, those sorts of things in the past, because we aren't relying on interacting with the operating system of the device. So we don't care if it's a phone operating system, again a home security operating system, an RC car operating system. It doesn't matter to Keynote because of that hardware integration. If there are inputs and outputs, we can provide remote access and automation against it.
And just to reiterate, your Keynote plans to support the Apple Watch, and I presume that'll be in January?
Yeah, we absolutely do. It looks like release date's going to be in January. As we get closer to that date, Keynote will be able to begin their work on integrating and providing that remote access and control of an Apple Watch. And so stay tuned for announcements as that date comes closer.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Chris, and thanks everyone for your questions. Those were great. We just really quickly want to wrap up with how to get started. If you're a current customer, feel free. You can ask us. Just request access to the Gear 2 and or any other smartwatch. We can look at incorporating it into your package. And as Chris mentioned, we plan to have the Apple Watch available on day one. And if you're not a current customer, you can feel free to start a trial today, Keynote Mobile Testing, and get started and see how it works. So I've brought in the links. You can click on Learn More, which takes you to the mobile testing page or the free trial. And if you'd like to download today's presentation, feel free to click on the link, and you can download the presentation. We appreciate your time today, and thanks for attending. We hope this webcast was both educational and informative, and looks like we're ending a little early, which is great. And we will see you next time. You may now disconnect. Thank you.